started to go to sleep for the night and suddenly realized that I hadn't done a Connie's note. Hi guys, this is Connie doing a November one take every day Connie's note. I don't want your text messages right now. And my mornings have been kind of rough, and as you can tell, if I don't go to sleep soon, my night's going to be a little rough. But that being said, I'm trying to figure out what happened today. So, kind of off to a rocky start in general. I'm learning that because I'm still dealing with some hormonal changes postpartum, and I really want to do it without medication at this point. The easiest thing for me is to cry because I've been a crier most of my life, and now it's just an increase. It's not depression or anything. I definitely have postpartum anxiety and apparently gas, and along with that, it's just the easiest way for me to release stress just within myself. I just cry it out and just am able to just release it a lot easier that way. And so there was that. And what I thought was funny was that my mom could tell even via text. She's like, "You seem a little down. Are you okay?" I'm tired. I always make the tired excuse. And then we went to the pool with Grandma and Grandpa. And then, what did I do? We didn't go home. On a whim, I was potentially going to go have lunch somewhere, and then suddenly realized that I looked at the Pokemon Discord group I'm a part of and was like, I'll catch a raid. Maybe I'll catch oh my gosh, a Suicune? I can't pronounce this stupid Pokemon's name. And it was near the mall in our local area. Didn't catch it. Actually ended up catching up with somebody I went to high school with, and we had not been on kosher speaking terms, and we were able to clear the air, which was really nice and really healthy. But my heart kind of goes out to this guy because I'm just like, not going into it. That's not what I want this vlog to be about. So I was about to put Ivy Bear back into the car seat. She definitely didn't want to be there. And I was like, you know who has lots of food? The food court and various places in the mall. Let's go to the mall. And so we had like I'm calling it an impromptu mommy-daughter date. Did I mumble all of that together? Impromptu mommy-daughter date. And she had a really good time until I had to change her diaper. She's dealing with some rashy diaper action because I no longer can hear and smell when she is moving her bowels. So I'm not changing her diaper fast enough. And I'm thinking that some of her bowels are starting to become so acidic that, it really gave her some irritation that I haven't heard her cry like that. First off, it's semi-embarrassing in a public place to know that she's dealing with that. But thinking about the way that she's cried before, it was almost on par with when she had really bad gas. And that was unbearable. I wasn't at hearing her cry so much that I wanted to cry point, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, oh, she's squawking to get my attention, to 10 being, oh my gosh, I'm crying with you. She was probably at a solid 6, and that still hurts. But we fixed that. And then we went, did we window shop anywhere? I don't think we did. But they do have a photo booth now at our mall. And so now I officially have, you could tell we were tired. I will have to take her out of the carrier next time. Next time we focus. The next time we do pictures, I'll have to take her out of the carrier. I was just too tired to even worry about it. And she was just getting the hang of it by the time we had the picture done and taken care of. So that's hopefully going to be a thing. But I like it because, she's 6 months old now. And we can do half birthday photo booths or something like that. It just made my day and made me happy. And, because she drives me nuts, but I love her. And so we can have a good time regardless of how much she could drive me crazy. I've definitely been actively learning various patience in things and stuff and how to better grow my patience. Which usually worship songs and eventually will be scripture memorization. I just haven't set down somewhere to do that actively and appropriately yet. Came home, hung out, and then Mustachio came home. And I got an education in the garbage plate. I could definitely see myself doing Connie's rendition of a garbage plate, which I'm sure every Rochester type upstate New York person would say, no, that's not a garbage plate. I would agree, but I have my own rendition in my head that I can think of with stuff that I have available to me, and I'm like, ooh, this could work. It could be close enough, but not really even close. And also had just learned about the church shooting in Texas, and oh my goodness, my heart just hurts. And I usually watch up-to-date news and current events through the Philip DeFranco show, and they brought up an interesting point about people going on about thoughts and prayers, and I think there's nothing wrong with thoughts and prayers, because and it makes me wonder how, like, people think it's disingenuous, and I don't think it is, but when you look at it long term and you start to process what you're really saying when you say thoughts and prayers, it's something that easily rolls off the tongue for me, especially when a part of me is like, I can't do anything about this except pray and keep those people in my thoughts, because if I had to walk through something like that, I would be completely and totally devastated, and I would feel a certain amount of comfort knowing that I'm not alone, that there is theoretically an entire country thinking about me and praying for me and sending good thoughts my way. But then at the same time, I understand that becomes a Hallmark card. It seems almost useless, or it just puts a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. And so it's got to be more than just thoughts and prayers at this point, because this is becoming so commonplace, thoughts and prayers are no longer enough. It's almost as if, like when I didn't think I could do anything about it, thoughts and prayers were the only thing I could do about it. But now it's getting to a point where you almost have no excuse to either actively take a stand in one way or another. Like, there were people there who were actively able to fight against this shooter, which I think is awesome, because I think the more that we are yes, it's something that can be a source of fear, but then if we understand that if we stand up to this, if we are strong and stand firm, and in some cases we fight back, there are less casualties. Yes, it puts us in harm's way, but there are people who make it their jobs to put themselves in harm's way, and I'm not saying every person has to do that, but if you think, beyond yourself, I know for myself, if I was like I heard, like, the youngest fatality was like an 18-month-old, and I'm just like, oh, my heart, like, I've got my 6-month-old that I'm just hugging closer, going, what would happen if I was in a situation and she was there with me? I would end up running, like, I would want to protect her, but then at the same time, a part of me goes, oh, I was going to use an extreme mentality and be like, but at the same time, even if I shield her from this today, there could always be something else the next day. And I'm not saying that as a paranoid situation. It's more of like, this is something that could really happen in any part of our world. So what do we do about it? And there are actually places where you can learn how to deal with an active shooter in your place of work or in your school, and how to be more effective, because if there's a gang up type mentality against people who do this, there aren't going to be many people who are effective in having the kind of casualties that a situation like this can have. And I'm not saying that happens all the time. There's always a risk there's always a possibility where we're not promised the next breath, much less the next day. And I know that I take it for granted because I want to believe I'm going to live a good long life and be that little old woman warm in her bed that, you know, dies at an old ripe age, having lived her life. But and God willing, that could happen. But if that's the case, it's one of those things where, like in Big Fish, he goes, "This isn't how I die." So suddenly it doesn't seem as scary. And I'm not saying that as a form of invincibility, but I say that to say, if we learned how to take a stand and not be afraid in these situations, what could be the difference between a shooting that has, you know, several dozen that are taken out versus standing up and fighting against this and only like a handful of people get hurt? And I don't know, even if I was in that situation and making that encouragement, if I would even have the boldness to do that. I don't know. But it's something to think about. It's definitely something that I keep in my thoughts. And if I was smart and wise about it, I'd pray about it and then be able to do something. Have that revelation and then a response. Because once you have the revelation and you're aware of it, you are responsible for it. And if you ignore it, that's a wrong response, but it is a response. It makes me sad, and it does concern me because the more this happens, the more we get desensitized to it. But then we automatically have this, like, I feel like we just need a better plan when something like this happens, other than just to ignore it and hope it doesn't happen in our own backyard. That was definitely not where I expected this video to go, but I guess it did. Goodness gracious. So, what are your thoughts? Do you pray? I'm very curious to know. Be careful with that and enjoy, please, and thank you. Have a great night, because I think me and my crazy hair are definitely going to, at some point when we go to sleep.